Hello there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi. My name is Samantha and this is my channel where I talk all about books. Anyway, today I'm coming to you with an exciting tag video. Today we're going to be doing the January book tag, which was created by Jan from Jan Agaton. I will link her channel down below. But I've been wanting to do this tag for years. I always forget to do it, and then it's like February and I'm like, well, it's too late now. But we're finally doing it this year. I'm so excited. It's just basically 10 questions to chat about your kind of plans for the year, your New Year's resolutions, all that jazz. To like kick off the year, chat about the year, reflect on last year. And yeah, I'm very excited because, as I said, I've been wanting to do this tag for years and I just keep forgetting to do it in time. But here we are. So, like I said, it's 10 questions. Let's just get into them before I waffle on too long about random crap. Question 1 is, what was the last and first, if you remember, book that you read last year? So the last book that I read last year was, well, I actually finished 2 books in one day, but technically the last book that I finished was My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jodi Meadows. I think those are the 3 authors. But yeah, I got the audiobook of this from NetGalley actually, because the audiobook hasn't come out yet, or they're like redoing the audiobook. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, the book itself has been out for like years, I think since 2016. But I really loved the show, and so I wanted to read the book because the show got cancelled. Technically, that was the last one I finished, but on the same day, I also finished reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. Well, rereading it, and loved that. Oh, that was so fun. And the first book that I read last year, I do remember because I did a whole dedicated reading vlog to it, and that was Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, which was a 5-star read. Things started off really well last year and actually ended off pretty well, but in the middle there, I had some really crap books, not gonna lie. The next question is, what is your first read this year? And I have technically already finished my first read. However, it's not what I'm counting as like my official first read, if that makes sense. The first book that I finished this year was a carryover from last year. It was Crowd of Midnight by Sarah J Maas. After I reread Throne of Glass, I was like, I need to just continue on with this. I was planning for it to be Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb because I thought that would be a really good first book of the year. But yeah, I just got so into the Throne of Glass reread, I was like, I have to continue on. So it was Crown of Midnight. That was like the official first book that I finished. But the book that I'm like counting as my first read of the year, because it's not a carryover, is called The Favorites by Lane Fargo. I'm currently reading it and I'm about halfway through. I'm having a good time with it, but it's not the best thing I've ever read. But it's actually an arc that's coming out on the 16th of January, so I realized I had to push aside my Throne of Glass reread for 2 seconds so I could read this book. And yeah, it's fine. I kind of wish I hadn't started my Throne of Glass reread just so I could have done my whole like dedicated vlog to choosing my first book of the year, but it's fine. I'm still having a good time. The next question is to share 3 of your reading goals for the year. And so my first reading goal is my Goodreads goal and also my Storygraph goal, and that is to read 52 books. Last year I read 75, but I don't want to try and push myself too much because I really want to focus on reading books that I love and enjoy, and reading longer books, reading fantasy books, which I feel like I put off because they're longer and they take me longer to read. I feel like I put this off and then I just read like a crappy romance book instead. Not that romance is crappy, I just struggle to find romance that I enjoy. But yeah, I feel like I've been putting off the books that I really want to read so I can read more, but I really prefer to focus on quality over quantity. So yeah, I've put 52 books, which is still like quite a bit, but that's a book a week, which I think is totally doable for me. So yeah, that's my first goal. Another goal of mine is to read all of my physical TBR. This shelf behind me is almost all of my physical TBR. We're currently sitting around 40 books, and I would like to get my physical TBR down to 0, hopefully. The only exception will be classics, or the case where I have like a much later book in a series and I haven't even started that series. In those cases, I'm not gonna like get rid of them at the end of the year. But yeah, I really want to try to read all of the books that I own because it's kind of out of hand. Like, it's not the end of the world, but it's more than I would like it to be. And I feel like I'm just putting off the books from my physical TBR because I don't know why, but I just need to get to them. And then another goal of mine is to complete the Buzzwordathon challenges because I always want to take part and I never do. This is hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. I'll link her channel down below, but I'm sure you know who she is. Yeah, I always want to take part and I never do. But this year I've actually like already had a look. I've kind of planned some books from my physical TBR that I think would work for the challenges. So yeah, I want to do it because I think it would just be fun. The next question is share 3 of your most anticipated titles. I did actually post a video during Vlogmas where I talked about all of my anticipated releases for the first half of this year. So I'll link that up in the card if you want a more detailed version. But I would say if I have to only choose 3, it would have to be Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, the next Emily Henry book, which I've forgotten the name of, which is bad, but that book. Maybe also the next Frederick Bachman book. I think it's called My Friends, but I've only read 2 of his books and I've loved both of them, so I think I'm gonna go for those 3. The next one is, which goals did you reach and not reach last year? Let's have a look at my goals from last year and see what I did and didn't reach. Calling me out. So one of these is like a YouTube goal more than a reading goal, but they kind of go hand in hand. It was to post once a week or 4 videos a month. I did not do that. Get my physical TBR down to 20. I did not do that. As I said, I'm at 40 at the moment. Read 24 books. I did do that. I read 75. Start posting some lifestyle content. Again, that's like a YouTube goal instead. I did post a few lifestyle videos. Not as many as I was like hoping to do, but I'm thinking going forward, I'll try and incorporate like lifestyle reading vlogs combined because I like that sort of format. Read at least 70% adult. I definitely did that. I don't think I read that much young adult last year because I don't typically read a ton anymore. Read more historical fiction books like than the previous year. So my goal was to read 7. I did not complete that. I don't know how many I read, but it was not 7. Read 1 nonfiction book a month. I didn't do that. I read 8, which is not too bad, but it's not 12. Read for 30 minutes before bed every night in January. I did that. Read 10 fantasy books. I definitely surpassed that. And to read more tomes, my goal was 5 to 10. I can't remember how many I read, but it was definitely between that. I did complete that. So yeah, like not too bad. I didn't complete all of my goals, that's for sure, but also I did complete some of them, so I'm proud of myself. The next question is, are there 2025 releases you've heard of that you have no desire to read? I honestly can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but I have heard people talking about like horror books, and I'm not gonna read that because I don't do horror. I'm not interested in horror whatsoever. No offense. It's just I am terrified. I'm a very anxious person, and I think being scared by a book is not going to help me be less anxious and scared all the time. So I just don't read horror as like a rule for myself. I just don't even try because I know I'm not gonna enjoy it probably. The next question is, what are some reading habits you want to change this year, if any? I don't really know if I have any reading habits that I particularly want to change. Like I said, I want to focus more on quality over quantity. So I kind of need to get away from that mindset of like, oh, I need to read more books like for my wrap up or whatever. So that's something that I want to try and focus on, like just reading to enjoy things. I definitely want to make sure I DNF books. I'm pretty good about DNFing, so that's not really like something I have to focus on. I don't know. In January, I'm trying to read 100 pages every day, just as a little challenge for myself. So yeah, maybe that's one of them. I want to maybe try and read more in each reading session because sometimes like I'll read for like 10 minutes and I feel like when I do that I don't engage with the book in the same way as I do if I sit down and read for like an hour in one go. So like when I have the time to do that, I definitely want to try and focus on doing like kind of longer reading chunks. I don't know. This is a hard one. I don't really know if there's anything that I particularly want to change. The next question is, are there any adaptations you're excited about? Not that I know of, to be honest. I feel like I haven't heard of any coming out in a while. Oh, I know that they're doing the Emily Henry book, People We Meet on Vacation. But I don't like that book. I don't know when that is coming out, but I will definitely watch that when it comes out because I think maybe it will translate better to screen. We'll see. Do you have a favorite bookish memory from last year? I don't think I do, to be honest. Maybe just when I was reading A Court of Silver Flames, I was like live reacting with my best friend Izzy. I was sending her all of my thoughts and feelings as I went, and we like really went into depth on our thoughts on that. Okay, sorry if the angle changed slightly. My battery just died. It was really nice to be able to talk to Izzy in that much detail about that book. It was just like a really fun experience because we both read it kind of not a similar time, both last year, and like we were able to talk about it in so much depth, and it was really great. And actually I'm starting a little book club with Izzy and my other best friend Maisie. We're starting a little book club and I'm really excited to be able to chat with them about books because we've never done that before. So maybe that will be my answer next year. Yeah, for last year I would say maybe my experience reading A Court of Silver Flames, even though I didn't like that book that much, but just being able to talk to Izzy so much about it was really fun. The last question is, are there any carryovers from last year that you still plan on finishing? So as I already said, technically my first book of the year was a carryover, Crown of Midnight. Otherwise, I had a lot of DNFs last year, some of which I think I like initially thought I was going to come back to, and now I'm like, I don't know. Like I started The Will of the Many and I thought it was just like the timing. I read 100 pages and then I don't know, I returned it to the library because I had to, and then I always thought I was going to go back to it, but I don't know if I will, because since then I've heard some people say that it's not as amazing as everyone says. So I don't know. I don't know is the short answer if I'm gonna go back to any of the books I started last year. Yes, anyway, those are the 10 questions for the January book tag. I will link Jan's latest version down below in case you want to go check it out. But yeah, that's all that I have for this video. So I hope you liked it. If you did, please give a thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave me like the fireworks emoji for like New Year's and answer some of these questions down below. Let me know what some of your goals are for this year. I'd love to know. But yeah, that is all that I have. So I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.